OptixEQ with the final segment, number 3, on race 4 from Del Mar on Wednesday, August the 14th. We're again looking at OptixPLOT. And in this segment, we're going to focus in on our table where we have our last 3 run lines and our OptixNOTES and alerts and so forth. And this will help us analyze this race in terms of where horses are maybe in their potential form cycle. Are they improving, regressing, and so forth. And the first thing we use is the OptixNOTES grade, and right here in the middle, they're color-coded. So each performance is graded A through C, A being the best and C being the worst. And you can see the color coding is really associated with kind of the next out win percentage. I'm going to pop this up. This is on the website. But what we've been doing, this is through 2018, but I've done this now through 2019 up to date. And it hasn't really changed all that much. But just shows you the next out win percentage for a horse. So if a horse runs a B plus, his next out win percentage, regardless of what he's doing, is 26.7%. And then the B is 18.7%. C is 9.7%, so that's negative. And then the EX, even though it's 15.2%, which is less than like a B minus in terms of the next out, these horses tend to win at higher odds. And what EX is, it's essentially a horse that we think had a really good chance of winning the race, but for some reason we're giving an excuse for it, and that's what EX stands for. But it's not just a toss. The horse had an excuse. It's more that horse had a really legitimate chance to win. So those horses, even though they may not win at as high percentage as B minus, they do come back at much better prices than the B minus and the Bs. So that's something to keep in mind. It's a positive. So that's how we came up with the color coding based on that. So as you look at this race, some of the horses that are coming off B efforts are the one. Oh, just one other thing I wanted to point out there too is that's overall. If the horse is in the same class, drop in class, and rise in class, those numbers will tweak. Okay, so B, who is moving up in class, wins at a lower percentage than normal, and actually less percentage than just an overall B minus. So that's just important to note in that. In the case here, we have the number 1 is coming off a B effort, the 8, the 9, and the 10. And I think if you go back and look, I think just the 8, 9, and 10 are actually moving up and rising in class, so that's something to pay attention to. Okay, so that's the grading. I'll talk a little bit about OptixFig. That's our figure, and you'll see there's shading on some of these numbers. All that means is that today's OptixFig range, that's a fit. So it's just something to watch. So you want horses kind of either improving or have in the past run within that range. I think is important to note. OptixNOTES, that's our keywords, and there's lots of them. And what we try to focus on, we analyze all these keywords, and the green are positive and the red are negative in terms of next out. What actually impacts the horse positively or negatively. And those are the ones that really have the most impact. It's not to say you ignore the other ones. So if a horse was wide in trouble, you want to factor that into your analysis. But just saying it just doesn't have the same impact as maybe a perfect trip. Negative impact is a perfect trip, or a green impact like prep. Okay, just a note on those. Just a couple I want to point out. Let's look at the number 8 Kitty Hawk Lass. This horse had a tactical advantage, was lone on the lead, and won and earned a B for a maiden claiming race. Now, it looks like the horse is going to face winners, but also note that this horse is going to move up in class. And remember what we talked about, grades and so forth with class rise. And then this horse, number of 81, looks below today's range. So this horse is going to have to improve, and all indications based on the last, that might not be the case. Again, we would look at it in context of what trip we expect this horse to get from a pace perspective, and we did some of that. And we thought this one was a negative one. So this kind of just compounds that. So that's something. On the positive side, Breezy B got a prep last time. It was a race off of layoffs, coming back down 24 days. You can see this horse has run pretty well in the past, B plus and B, good grades. It looks like he's cutting back, or she's cutting back in distance, something to pay attention to. And if you look at Breezy B and you look at the alerts on Breezy B, she has 3 alerts. The first one is the green keyword last. Now, We don't have all the statistics commercially, but I'll tell you, green keyword and less is very important and very positive. The NT means that this horse was a new top over the last 12 months. Usually a good indication for coming back horses. And then this horse is second off the left. That's what the 2LO mean. So there's a lot of good information in there without having to dissect it yourself. That's an area we really want to expand on and bring a little bit more statistics and the kind of the green, red, keyword concept to OptixAlerts in the futures. But there's a chock full of information here, and you can really do a lot of handicapping without even delving into the PPs at this point. So that's it. That's the final segment on race 4 from Del Mar, August the 14th. We'll be doing more of this, analysis and more how to use OptixPLOT 2020. So stay tuned and keep looking at the website and looking at our YouTube channel to find some more of these videos.